what Baz has shown with his team that I've been a part of for 15 months is actually you can play a white ball style of cricket with the bat and be successful in Test match cricket. And I think teams will look at England and go, wow, they're scoring at 5.5 and over. They're moving games forward. They're taking the draw out of the equation. They're entertaining crowds. There was a moment in the Ashes series where we were 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And I went for a walk with Molly to get a coffee. And people were stopping going, loving the series, really enjoying it. Keep going. You've got the... And I almost wanted to go, hang on a minute, we're 2-0 down here. We're losing.
Yeah.
But people had taken their mindset away from the result. I mean, they were just enjoying the style we were playing it. And I don't think it'll be long until we see other Test-playing nations just pick players out of playing white ball cricket and say, don't worry about playing too much first-class cricket. Come and play that style.
Stuart, before we talk about the book, which we are going to talk about the book and the career, I think probably many people will want to know your thoughts on the disastrous World Cup. So I remember talking to Mike Atherton at the time saying England were like second favourites. It felt like something that was going to be potentially quite spectacular. And it's just been so disappointing. Somebody wanted to win as much as you did. What do you make of it? How can that happen?
Yeah, it's been strange. I've spoken to a few of the guys out there, and I don't think there's any clarity really as to what's gone wrong. I think it's quite a unique situation where a team full of brilliant players seem to have lost form at the same time. The good thing about team sports is generally you might have 2 or 3 players out of form, and the others will cover you for that little period until you get your confidence back. But it looks like the whole batting unit's just lost that spirit and that confidence. I don't think it's a time for wholesale changes and changing of captain and coach. I think it's probably time for a bit of fresh blood and younger players coming through who have no fear of failure, but keeping the core values of what the team's about and that attacking intent, which I'm a big believer that you need experience in teams. So it's certainly not at that stage where you get rid of all the players over 30 and start again. I think the style of cricket that England have played since 2015 has been superb. I just think there might be scope for a few younger players in to bring that energy and that drive and that enthusiasm back to the team. That I'm not saying it's lacked enthusiasm in this World Cup, but maybe the batting unit has gathered a little bit of that fear of failure, which has crept in.
How much do you care as a player? Because as a fan, I know you're a Forest fan like I am, and you can be a fan and you can really care. And you look at sometimes players and you think, well, they're living it. Do they feel it? How do they feel in the World Cup?
Yeah, it really hurts.
Does it?
It really hurts. Yeah, it's you do feel embarrassed. You feel ashamed. You almost want to disconnect from people back home because you don't want to almost live in that realism of what's going on at the time. You're just desperate to put it right. And I've been in these situations before where training will be really intense. You'll be trying to work on everything, but almost that doesn't help because you're trying too hard then. And when you try too hard in international sport, it never goes for you. The best teams are always the ones that are flowing and relaxed and very much enjoying each other's company and have freedom to play. And it looks like the England team's just lost that freedom in India. And ultimately, don't get me wrong, yeah, there were second favourites maybe, but I think India are going to be so difficult to beat.
Yeah.
India just look phenomenal. I don't see how they're not going to win this World Cup. They're in India. You look back to 2011, India won it in India. 15, Australia won it in Australia. 19, England won it in England. So I think there's become a real habit or a routine that teams are winning their home World Cups, and I think it's really, really difficult to look past India unless they have an off day in the final or something. And South Africa have been probably the surprise team for me. They've been the team that have always struggled in World Cups. They've always struggled to really get over the hurdle, but they look like they've found something in their team this time.
Why did you give up short form cricket for Test cricket? Because you probably would you have made more money, Stuart, if you'd gone the other way, if you'd prioritised short form cricket, gone to the IPL, played white ball cricket instead of Test cricket? Would it have been financially better if you'd have prioritised short form cricket over Test cricket?
Yeah, I don't think there's any hiding place in world cricket to know that the short format game brings in more money or pays players more money for sure. But for me, Test cricket was where my heart was, and I loved playing Test cricket. Ultimately, I was part of the 2015 England World Cup disaster where we got knocked out before the semi-finals, and that reset happened, and I wasn't a part of that. Although I did enjoy playing white ball cricket, but I always loved playing Test match cricket. I felt Test match cricket was the true test of everything about you as a player: character, skill, determination, longevity, real test of physical and mental capabilities. So that was just something that really floated my boat, and I made a full commitment from probably the age of 30 of, right, Test cricket is where I want to be. And I, at this stage sat here, I wouldn't have changed that for the world.
You don't regret it at all?
I don't regret it at all. And, if you asked me now if I was 19 years old, what would I be thinking? Of course, I'd be targeting my game towards the shorter format.
And is that a problem with that? Because that goes to the heart of the issue for cricket, isn't it? That basically, if you grow up now, you're going to grow up playing a lot of T20, some one-day cricket, and not very much first-class cricket in whatever form that is. And therefore, the game is going to be tilted in that direction. Are we seeing the last 10 years of Test cricket full stop?
No, I don't think so. I think we're actually going to come into a really exciting period of Test match cricket, because I think what Baz has shown with his team that I've been a part of for 15 months is actually you can play a white ball style of cricket with the bat and be successful in Test match cricket. And I think teams will look at England and go, wow, they're scoring at 5.5 and over. They're moving games forward. They're taking the draw out of the equation. They're entertaining crowds. There was a moment in the Ashes series where we were 2-0 down. Yeah. And I went for a walk with Molly to get a coffee. And people were stopping going, loving the series, really enjoying it. Keep going. You've got the... And I almost wanted to go, hang on a minute, we're 2-0 down here. We're losing. Yeah. But people had taken their mindset away from the result, and they were just enjoying the style we were playing it. I don't think it'll be long until we see other Test-playing nations just pick players out of playing white ball cricket and say, don't worry about playing too much first-class cricket. Come and play that style. Come and enjoy playing Test match cricket with no fear of failure, with no real pressure, and just entertain the crowds. And ultimately, for me, I enjoy watching T20 cricket. 50-over cricket's okay, but Test match cricket's really...
It's only okay.
It's okay, but I think Test match cricket's got so much style, and it evolves so much, and momentum changes so much, and that's only going to get better if you get a white ball mentality come more into Test match cricket, and I think that's the way it will go.
Your book begins with the end of your career. That tremendous moment, which I think anyone who loves cricket will just feel goosebumps when they think about it. Your last ball as a batsman was a 6, and your last ball as a bowler, more importantly, I suppose, was a wicket, a necessary wicket, a wicket that meant we didn't lose the Ashes. What do you think of it now when you look back on that? It is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a fairy tale in a sense. I always think the greatest wicket you can ever take is that final one to win a Test match. So to think that I was able to do that with my final ever delivery in professional cricket, I've bowled, 10, 14,000 balls in my career in matches. So to have taken a wicket with the last one is truly really special. And I think ultimately for me, Ashes cricket was the pinnacle. I grew up on that. I loved the rivalry. I love the competitiveness. And being able to finish playing for England right at the very top is something that feels very special, moving away from the game. And honestly, when I went and told Stokesy on that Friday night that I was going to move away and this would be my final game, if you'd have asked me to write down how I would like the next 3 days to go, I may have written that, but I would never have dreamt that would have been how it finished. So I don't even know what the word would be above a fairy tale, but it was truly a dream.
And do you regret it at all? Because you're still looking pretty good, Nick. No doubt you could probably still bowl for another couple of years.
I could have played on. Yeah, 100%. I was really enjoying it. I loved playing in the culture of the team. I loved the style of not focusing too much on the result, it all being about enjoyment and fun and entertaining the crowd.
Is that true? That
yeah, it's true.
I remember we had a couple of the players in after the first Test, and they said that on air on TimesRadio. I was like, are you sure that's the case?
Yeah, 100%.
What if you go 2-0 down? They went, yeah, we'll still believe that.
So authentic, honestly.
Does that annoy some? Like, what does your dad make of that? Because he will have come from a tradition where Tests were all about not losing. The reason why some people find Test cricket boring is for basically for decades it was do not lose at any cost. Keep your wicket, do not lose. And he must have come from that sort of tradition as well.
He did.
He's a very exciting player in some respects, but
no, I think he's obviously hears what it's like from me and has really bought into that as a former cricketer, former international cricketer, to seeing how much I've enjoyed playing it and just how authentic it is for Baz and Stokesy. You know, Baz would genuinely prefer our batters to get caught on the boundary than out defending. And so if someone does get caught on the boundary going for a six, he won't come in and go, "Why did you play that shot? That wasn't good enough." He'll go, "Just need another yard on that, didn't you?"
But is that always right, though? Because sometimes you have to... I wonder whether the course of the Ashes, you sort of demonstrated that you can tonk the hell out of everything and get out, or you can sort of occasionally pick your shots a bit. Is there a happy medium that you have to find in cricket, do you think?
There is, but I think to really embed it within the culture of our team, we had to take it to the 10 out of 10 level. We had to go to that place to then find out where we live to be really successful. You know, Stokesy in that first summer, 2022, got caught mid-off 5 times, I think, you know, trying to go over the top. And then he figured out, okay, I'm going to play really aggressively, but still I'm going to pick my bowlers, pick my times to do it. But as long as our process and mindset is always... So Baz's favourite saying is run towards danger. So... never back away. If you think I want to hit a 6, go and hit a 6. Don't think, oh, maybe I shouldn't because if I get out, then you're exhausting yourself. So the freedom that he's allowed the players to have, I think, will change the culture of English cricket in Test matches, because 22, 23-year-olds, Harry Brooks, Zach Crawleys, Ollie Popes, they're learning their craft with this mindset. So they'll just carry that through. And it's shown that Jimmy at 41, me at 37, we can also tweak how we played to lead this mindset. And, you know, ultimately, it's in the dictionary now, Bazball, isn't it? So it proves that it's
one of the words of the year. I saw that someone came on our programme last week and said it's one of the words of the year.
Fantastic.
Running towards danger then, what are you going to do, Stuart? Because you've given your life to cricket, from a cricketing family. You've got a pub. You're going to do punditry. Is that enough?
I think it's one of those, moving away from the game. I'm quite strong and not calling it the R word, retirement word, because I'm 37. You know, I'm just changing careers. I'm going to search for new things and a new direction. What I'm not going to do is dive fully headfirst into something and commit fully to something, and then maybe 4 months down the line I go, oh, I'm not sure that's me. I don't want to do that. I know that cricket's my love. It's my greatest hobby. I'll always be involved in cricket in some way, whether that's coaching at the top level or franchise level or kids or punditry or being around. I don't fully know yet, but I know that I love being a part of cricket, and I love having that fortunate position of being able to walk onto pitches and walk onto grounds on big occasion. You still feel the crowd. So I don't see a day where I won't be involved in cricket, but I do want to spend more time with the family. Annabella's won on this week, so I want to spend more time. You know, cricket is one of those sports where you chase the sun, so you're away a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, the tour coming up in January, February and March to India is a long one. So, you know, I didn't want to commit to that amount of travel with a young family.
Are you nervous, Stuart? Because, you know, athletes, you're old for an athlete, you're 37, but you're young for a professional in any other sphere. You're actually in the most 37-year-olds are in the early stages of their career. Is that exciting? Are you nervous? Thinking, Christ, what am I going to be doing when I'm 47?
No, it's really exciting. Actually, I got excited when you said you're young for a professional. You know, I've been called a veteran since I was 28 because I played from a young age. So to think that I can be young and fresh in a new industry and a different type of thing is really fun and exciting. So, yeah, I think the punditry I really enjoy because there's so much to learn, and there's some great people to learn from. And my goal from being 22 has always been about continuous improvement. It's something I live my life by. So I never try and sort of stop still and think that I'm good. Do you know what I mean? I've completed everything. You know, there's always something that I can get better at. And I showed that in my cricket this year when I targeted Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne with an outswinger. So I spent all of March, April, May working on moving this ball away. So that's something that lives within me, is this continuous improvement goal. And that won't stop just because I've moved away from a sporting field. I'll just find something in my next chapter that I'll always be looking to improve on.
Well, I'm very interested to see where that takes you, Stuart. It's great to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.